Progressive Skills in English.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Theme 2. Today we will be working on our everyday English, specifically on asking for information. And now we're going to begin by studying the words and phrases in the box which will be represented in front of you right now. We're going to be connecting these words and phrases, whether it's going to be to the library or to a bookshop. So now let's begin reading them. Student discount, author, title, borrow, lend, buy, price, in stock, out, deposit, card, form, passport photo, assistant, librarian, cashier, and copy. Okay, now let's choose some words and we're going to relate them either to the library or to the bookshop. So, student discount.
Well, I think student discount would go for a bookshop.
That's very correct. Okay, now for copy.
Copy would go for a library.
Okay, borrow,
A library.
lend.
A library again.
That's very correct. We use these two words when we're borrowing or lending a book to someone. Now we will be practicing conversations. Now you're going to be seeing the conversations in front of you and we're going to be choosing 3 of them. Now for the first one, is this the way to the bookshop?
Yes, I'm going that way too.
Do you mind if I go with you?
No, not at all.
Now the second conversation. Excuse me, where's the library?
It's in the other building.
Thanks, which floor is it on?
The second?
The third conversation. Do you give a student discount?
Yes, with a student ID card. It's 10%.
Oh great, can I pay for these books then?
Certainly. Now let's go to the phonetics part and the pronunciation check number 1 for this episode. Now we are gonna talk about the consonants N and ing and ink. Like the letter N is always followed by K or G. The letter N is always followed by K, and in this case it would be K, and by the G, and in this case it would be J. The letters N, K make the sound K. Like, for example, think. Can you please give me another example?
We have think, sink, wink.
Thank you. The letters N, G gives me the sound ing, like sing. Can you give me more words?
We have thing, wing, and sing.
Okay, sin, win, and sin. Is that ending with n or n and g? What do you think?
I think it ends with n and g.
Okay, like sing, thing, wing. Also we have writing, singing, thinking. And the n and k and the n and j, or the g, always come at the end of the word. Again, these letters and the sounds of these letters always come at the end of the word. Going to now the other point of the phonetics part or the pronunciation check number 2, and this would be a review for a and a. A and a. Do you remember? As we said before, we have a, this is short, and a, this is a long vowel. For example, a as in man, cat. Can you give me more examples?
Yes, we have hat, hat.
Yes, thank you. This is right. Also we have A, like start, part, father. Can you give me more examples?
I guess heart, park.
Okay. Now we finished this part of phonetics and pronunciation, and we will go to another part.
Now we will begin with the first skills check for this episode, which is going to be on taking turns, starting a turn. In English-speaking cultures, people speak in turn. I wait for another person to finish, then it is my turn to speak. Begin a turn with a very short introduction. For example, okay, right, well, I think, I heard or read that. So if we're going to put some of these in a sentence, we will say, for example, I think that reading is very useful. Or I heard that there's a very big discount on the bookshop by the end of the street. And now you're going to be hearing an audio track, and then after that we're going to be completing the sentences together.
Track 2.15.
A. I found a good article in the library. B. I think we should discuss sociology first. C. Well, what is the difference between them? D. I read that a lot of psychologists are women. E. Okay, and what about old people? F. I found a quote about that on the internet. G. Yes, but that's not a new idea. H. I heard that it's an interesting website.
Okay, so now that you've listened to the audio track, let's complete the following sentences together. Sentence A.
I found a good article in the library.
Sentence B.
I think we should discuss sociology first.
Sentence C.
Well, what's the difference between them?
Sentence D.
I think a lot of psychologists are women.
Sentence E.
Okay, and what about old people?
Sentence F.
I read a quote about that on the internet.
Sentence G.
Yes, that's not a new idea.
And finally, sentence H.
I think it's an interesting website.
Alright, perfect. Now moving on to skills check number 2 for this episode, which will be recognizing the end of a turn. So you know that a person has finished speaking when the voice goes down. So for example, we have, you like some things and you don't like other things. Or, your personality depends on your friends, the places you go, and so on. Now you'll be listening to another audio track, and I'd like you to focus very well on whether it's a good or bad turn taking.
Track 2.16.
Example 1.
Well, I've seen
I've got a good quote here from the article.
Example 2.
And that's all, really. That's all I wanted to say. Yes, that's all.
Okay, I think it's an interesting idea.
Example 3.
I read that psychologists and sociologists don't help in our everyday life.
Well, I read something different. I have it here. Example 4.
There is one more thing that I found. It was on the internet.
I looked on the internet too. I saw an article there.
Example 5.
So maybe we should work in pairs to find the information. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Now for the third skills check, we're going to be expressing ability and possibility. We use can to express ability. For example, I can't play tennis. And we also use can to express possibility. So for example, some people can change their behavior. Or, can we ask the lecturer a question? And now we're going to be making each sentence a negative. So for sentence A, he can play tennis.
He can't play tennis.
Sentence B, she can use Excel.
She can't use Excel.
Sentence C, they can come this evening.
They can't come this evening.
Sentence D, I can do the assignment later.
I can't do the assignments later.
Sentence E, we can ask the lecturer.
We can't ask the lecturer.
And last sentence F, she can speak German.
She can't speak German.
And now moving on to the next exercise, we're going to write the words in the correct order to make a WH question for each answer, and you'll be seeing the table in front of you with the answers. So for the first sentence, A,
When can babies talk?
B,
Why people can't fly? No, why can't people fly?
number C,
Where can you buy stamps?
number D,
How can you make an omelette?
number E,
What can you buy from a vending machine?
number F,
When can a person drive a car in Britain?
number G,
Who can help you with personal problems at university?
number H.
How can a person walk fast?
Alright, perfect. So now we're done with skills check number 3 and moving on to skills check number 4 for this episode. And it's going to be the final one, which is going to be giving advice. We use should to give a piece of advice or ask for one. So for example, we should discuss sociology first. She shouldn't talk so fast. What should we do now? And now we're going to be solving this exercise together, where we're going to be finding and circling one mistake in each sentence, and you'll be seeing them in front of you right now. Sentence number A. Students should to make notes during lectures.
Well, it will be students should make notes during lectures.
That's very correct. Number B. You don't make fun of people.
The correct one is you shouldn't make fun of people.
Thank you. Number C. Young people, they should try to understand old people.
The correct thing is young people should try to understand old people.
Thank you. Number D. I should take this job.
It will be, should I take the job?
That's correct. Number E. Should give parents young children mobile phones.
The right order would be, should parents give young children mobile phones?
Yes, that's correct. Number F. Where we should meet.
The right thing is, where should we meet?
Okay. And final one. Number G. How should students doing research?
Well, the right thing here would be, how should students do research?
Okay, so now moving on to the next exercise. We have a case study, which is basically Amira is not doing well at university. What should she do to improve her marks? We're going to be writing a piece of advice for each point. So now for the first one, number A, she doesn't study very much.
She should spend more hours studying.
Number B, she never asks her tutor for help.
She should ask her teachers for help.
Number C, she goes out every evening.
She should spend more hours and more time at home studying.
And number D, she doesn't talk to the other students.
She should talk more to her classmates and ask them for help.
Great. Number E, she doesn't go to all the lectures.
She should attend all her lectures.
Number F, she gives in her assignments late.
She should stick to the deadlines.
Number G, she doesn't revise for exams.
She should revise more before her exams.
And finally, she uses Wikipedia all the time.
She should be more creative and stop using Wikipedia. Now, giving advice to a person should be something that would encourage him to take your advice. This is why we use you should. You should gives us an impression that it's an internal obligation and it's not an external obligation. This is why we cannot use you must. For example, you should spend more hours studying. It is not you must. When you give an advice to somebody, he should feel that he really wants to do it and this would be really useful for him. This is why in the previous exercise, when we were talking about Amira, we use should with all the sentences in the last exercise. This is why I have to use should and not must. The obligation should be internal, not external, because the person should feel that it is beneficial, it is useful for him to take this advice and act according to what he's being told to react as. Thank you so much.